Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Main Event Interviews radio show here on MSP Waves. I go by the username Main Event on Steemit, and I am joined every week by my co host, Poetic Snake. You can find her on Steemit at Poetic Snake. How are you doing tonight, Snecky?
Good evening, everybody. I'm doing rather well. What about you?
I'm doing pretty well, considering it's still January here and it's still very cold and winter, but other than that, everything's going pretty well. What's new in your world, Sneck?
Um, there's uh there's gonna be an adoption and yeah, on Steemit that is. And I'm sure that with the first guest we are going to have this evening, we are going to talk about that.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. And again, welcome everybody to the show. What this is basically an interview show where we chat with and get to know different members of the Steemit community. We ask them where they're from, how they found their way here to Steemit, what they're using it for, and pretty much what they think about it. And most of them also take some time to share with us some projects they might be working on, some different communities they might be in, and just we kind of hang out and get to know them a little better. And you're welcome to join us on the radio show. We do this show every Wednesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 p.m. to midnight UTC time. Again, this show airs on MSP Waves Radio, which you can find a full schedule of all the radio shows at mspwaves.com. And all of the shows are hosted by members of the Steemit community, all people who use the Steem blockchain, which is really cool. So you can again find out more about the radio station MSP Waves at mspwaves.com. This show, we welcome anybody. It doesn't matter, whether you're a new minnow, a brand new user, whether you're a whale or a witness, a community leader, or again, somebody who's just starting out on the platform. We're happy to talk with you. And so you can always send us a message on Discord chat, either myself, Main Event, or Poetic Snake. You can send us a message on steemit.chat, and we would be happy to have you on the show.
Absolutely. It would be wonderful to hear everybody's story here on the platform.
And we are chatting along live during the show right now, so if you are listening to the live broadcast, you can join us in the MSP Waves audience chat room, which of course is in the Peace, Abundance, Liberty server on Discord chat. That, of course, the home of the Minnow Support Project. And within that is MSP Waves Radio. And you can find us chatting along right now in the MSP Waves audience chat room. Let's see
Yes.
who is in there right now. I see a bunch of people tuning in already, so it's wonderful to have you all here.
Send us some waving hands in the chat if you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. We were working on some audio things before the show, so we're hoping our second guest will still be able to be on the show and everything tonight, but we do have one guest waiting in the wings here. And again, if you're tuning in for the very first time, we just chat with different members of the Steemit community on this show. Anybody that's using the Steem blockchain and kind of get to know them a little better, what they're blogging about, maybe if they're working on a project or who knows what it could be with the Steem blockchain. It's pretty amazing, isn't it, Sneck, all the different things that people can do on here.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's endless. There are so many things still yet to be discovered, and projects that will blow us all away. And I'm really looking forward to that. And hearing about it is really amazing too, because you can learn from it, you can get inspired from it. So yeah, it's amazing.
And of course, a little disclaimer here to start the show. Everything you hear on this show is strictly just our opinions. We are not experts of anything, so always do your own research. And MSP Waves Radio and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by myself or my guests on this show. Statements and show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the radio station, and the material you hear on this show is provided for educational and informational purposes only. Of course, this all is for entertainment purposes only, and so again, always do your own research.
Absolutely. Do it. Do it your own
But in our
research.
opinion, we really have a we enjoy the Steem blockchain. We like being here is how I would say it. I love using Steemit. I personally like using some of the other things that are being created and being used on the Steem blockchain, other applications and things like that. And it's cool to see how it's growing. And what do you think, Sneck? Are you still enjoying your time here on the platform?
Oh, absolutely. It's the first thing I do. Well, not the real. The first thing I do is make coffee, and then I go sit down, and the first thing I do is start up Steemit, watch my news feed, and go to Discord, see if somebody thought about me and sent me a little message. And yeah, I really enjoy it. And what I enjoy most is finding out all the new things like DTube and stuff like that. It's just amazing. I wish I could do that, make a program people can use on Steemit. That would be amazing, but I can't code, so
Maybe someday. You never know, right? I mean,
that's true.
but yeah, no, thank you to all of you who are listening tonight. Let's see. I see some people chatting in the audience chat room. I see Menno out there, of course, got us on the radio tonight. And shout out to Rondon as well. He's working with our next guest, trying to get him on the air. So thank you to both of you, our technical behind the scenes guys here at MSP Waves. What other names do you see out there in the chat, Snack?
I see Discordian. Hello, Soundwaves Photon is here with us. I see a very difficult name, but I'm going to try it. Raichura. I'm sorry if I said that totally wrong. And I see Sargento is here as well. And Wolfen Sade is here too. So many names. Great to have you all with us.
Yeah, I see quite a few new names that I have not seen before. So, welcome to the show if you're a first time listener, or even if you're a returning listener, too, of course. Again, we are on here on MSP Waves every Wednesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 10 to midnight UTC time. And we had a few people pending to be on the show tonight, and, kind of at the last minute, we found out that they weren't able to be on this week. They may be on next week. So, in the second hour here, we probably will have some open time. So, if anybody's listening out there and you're interested in coming on the show tonight, we may have some time to have you on and chat for a bit here in the second hour. So, stick around for that. Here in the first hour, we have at least one for sure confirmed guest, and they are waiting here in the wings. What's up? Are you there?
Hello.
How are you doing? So, did you prefer to be called What's Up? Is that what we should call you, or do you have anything else you'd rather us call you?
You may address me by what's up.
What's up? All right, that's
What's
awesome.
up? Welcome to the show. And I have to make sure that I not say, hey, what's up?
Yes, I joke about that. I had no idea the amount of confusion my name was going to cause in chat rooms.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Now, what's up? Whereabouts in the world are you this evening? What country are you in?
I am in Eastern Washington, USA.
Okay, awesome. Here in the United States. And how long have you been on Steemit so far?
I joined in August of 2016, right for the big slide down.
All right. Well, and so what brought you here, or do you remember how you found out about Steemit, or what brought you over here to the platform?
I found the platform via James Corbett and the Corbett Report. I'm not sure how I got to his site or what I was doing there, but he was talking about Steemit as a place of privacy and freedom and possibly a place to earn some cryptocurrency, which I was a little interested in. And so I came over to check it out, and I've been 100% addicted ever since.
All right. And Snecky, you seem to have found What's Up out there in the Steemitverse. How did you come across What's Up? Do you remember?
Well, honestly, I joined a month before What's Up joined, but we have not spoken until last week because our last guest next week spoke about this project, and that's when I contacted What's Up.
That's awesome. Now, What's Up? Had you been someone who was a blogger or a content creator before you joined Steemit, or is this your first experience doing that?
I had toyed around with some blogging. I was on Newsvine for a while for people who remember that project. And then I admin several groups on Facebook. So not as a career choice, but definitely as a hobby.
Okay, that's cool. And now, what are you using Steemit for nowadays? What types of things are you liking to share on the platform?
Well, I have the same challenge of figuring out what to write about, and I have discovered I'm not a full-time blogger, but I'm in it for the investment and the communities, and most definitely one of the most interesting things I get is meeting people from around the world. I haven't done a lot of international travel, and so it's been great to view other cultures through Steemit's eyes.
That's really interesting. I'm going to try to pull up your blog here so we can share that in the audience chat room.
Yes, and can I ask what brought you, because I spoke a little bit about it, the Adopt Minnow project that you are doing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you came up with it?
Well, it actually started a little bit as a joke, looking for that ever elusive topic to write about. And I was just trying to think what would create some engagement. I've brought some family members and friends on board, and I realized the minnows and myself even have had a very difficult time getting visibility and gaining ground. And I just was jokingly saying, hey, I'm looking for a minnow to support. And it turned into what I thought was kind of a funny post, but it was the response that made me want to turn it into a project with, lots of minnows who are creating good content coming forward. I thought it was a chance to actually get back to curation, where we actually look at the minnows and figure out who can create interesting content and support them and lift them up in the community.
Yeah, and along the way, the guidance you can provide. I mean, you have been here for a long time, so helping those minnows, new members out to how the platform works and guide them a little bit. That's just a great aspect, I think.
Well, I've tried to pitch it having fun, but there's a serious element to it as well. And I've already mentioned visibility and curation, but also that long learning spot to have somebody who is actually engaged in your success to ask questions to, and hey, should I do this? And someone to notice you have too many Steamback dollars in your wallet. Are you selling those? Are you aware? Do you know how? Just someone to kind of pay attention and help you along the way.
Yeah, I realized that when I joined, it was really hard to get noticed as well. And even now, with even more members here around the platform, it gets harder and harder. And just, I think I saw it in one of your posts that just having someone who is looking forward to your post and gives you a nice reply and helps you out, that is just, I think that is amazing. If I was a minnow, I would love that.
Yeah, and another thing I want to say about it is it's an open source project. Anybody can go forward and customize your own ideas on how to support new users through curation and interesting content. I'm not of the mindset that everybody on Steemit should earn, but I'm definitely of the mindset we should farm our own users for the most interesting content and content creators.
I totally agree with all of that as well. So, how do you think just new users who are joining the platform, we actually probably have a few listening to this show also, because of course this airs as part of the Minnow Support Project on MSP Waves. So what types of things do you think that newer users maybe don't do so often that they could do to try to improve their experience at the beginning of Steemit? Because I think sometimes it's really overwhelming for people when they first join it, because there's so much to learn, not only from the technical side of it, but just from the cultural side of it as well. Like Steemit kind of seems to have its own little subculture of, what is good content or what isn't, or what should be shared and what shouldn't be, all these things. So how do you plan to maybe try to help some of these newer users when they first get going?
Well, I think there are several. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure I was pushing my button. I think there are several great support projects out there. I think we also have, just yesterday, we had 12,000 new users. according to a set of stats that
Wow.
I saw. And I mean, that's overwhelming for our current community of active users. So, what I would like to support is having eyes on the platform, people who are actually reading and consuming content. And to minnows, I say it's a very tough job to get noticed. You need to be making thoughtful comments on posts, and you have to err to the side of not sounding spammy because anybody with Steam Power is getting spammed all of the time. So thoughtful engagement and join communities, make friends. It's much more about networking than it is about contacts and content.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, when I first started, I had no idea what I was going to blog about. I started sharing a few little things here and there, just minor things. And once I started joining these groups and these communities, that's when it got a lot better for me because it was more than just content at that point. It was actually people. I was interacting with them, talking with them, uh, learning more about them, that type of thing. And it went so far beyond than just the posts and the comments and all of those things. So I think making sure that these newer users at least find out about the communities and things like that early on is a good thing. And what you're doing is awesome because if you're actually going to take some one-on-one time with these new users or people that are, they don't necessarily have to be new, but people that could use some help, basically. Um, that's going to be really cool that you're going to do that. And in my opinion, I think that's really awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm hoping it catches on, and I don't care if it catches on from the adopt a minnow. Customize it, make it your own. Sponsor a minnow, mentor a minnow, lift up a new user if you're offended by the cute little names we call people. But find someone that creates excellent and interesting content that you would like to consume, and lift that person up in the community.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you. After last week, I think you saw my post. I joined it because I want to give back as much as I can as well, and I decided to adopt a pet. A pet minnow, if I can call it that way, and I got really great responses. And I think that if anybody who is looking to help somebody out, this is the perfect way to do so. If you have the time for it, and why not? It's sharing a little bit of knowledge here and there and guiding a person. There's no harm in that. It's just good. So just think about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of little things that people can do to give their knowledge to people to kind of help them out, and it could be like we were talking about in a variety of different ways. I mean, some people may say, "Well, I don't know how to do something with formatting on my post." I saw a lot of people talking about formatting today in the chats and stuff. So, that might be one thing someone might be struggling with, or maybe they're not getting as many followers as they think they should, or just things like that. And of course, every person is going to have a different experience, and there is no easy answer to give each person. I mean, there's no 100% sure thing that's going to make you successful on Steemit. There just isn't. But there's things you can do and tools that you can use that will better your experience and just make it more about the experience versus just the rewards, I think. Now,
Absolutely. And
yeah, go
then
ahead.
one more thing I want to squeeze in here
Oh yeah.
is that, we have a lot of complaining about the content that's produced, that it's not engaging, or people tend to use the word quality. I prefer engaging. This is one way to actually motivate new minnows, because look, they're going to look around the site and they're going to reproduce what they see being successful. And if we're actually out there reviewing their content and rewarding them for engaging content, then we will see more of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been seeing a lot more. I think it's because more people now have been here for a while. This is my opinion on it because I've noticed the same thing. People have been here for a little while, whether they've been here 6 months or a year or longer, and so they're comfortable now, and they're probably doing okay with their posts and things, and so it is easy to start criticizing at that point. I feel like no, not everybody's going to be like that, of course. But I have noticed that sentiment, I guess, out there a little bit where people are being a little more critical than they were maybe 3 or 4 months ago of people. And, I hope that doesn't continue. I think people do need to remember that we were all new once. We all were brand new here on Steemit. And it is kind of confusing and scary out there. You don't know what to expect out there. I mean, somebody's going to say your content is good, somebody else might say that it isn't. It's all opinion, right? And so these newer users, it's easy to forget that sometimes when they just put up like a picture with, not a lot with it, and because maybe they just joined from a photo sharing site or another social media where it doesn't require you to do much on there, right? So I will put that out there to people. Do kind of keep that in mind. And of course, there's people that they quote unquote abuse the platform by doing that all the time. That's not what we're talking about. But if people are pretty much new users, give them some constructive feedback rather than bashing their posts as, crap posts or whatnot, right?
Well said. And I'm trying to choose my words, carefully. I called it criticism, and really it's feedback. And,
Yeah.
Each of us can contribute to what is successful, especially those of us who are starting to accumulate some stake. I guess the thoughts I have to everyone is support what you want to see more of and ignore and let fall away that which you're not interested in.
Right. And I mean, some people have really strong opinions about what should or shouldn't be on the platform, and then others are, not so strong opinioned also. So it's really depending on the people and how passionate they are about it and things like that. But that's what's the beauty of platforms like Steemit is there's this wide variety of people on here from all over the world, all walks of life, all opinions, and every voice counts, right? So you're going to have some people that agree with you and some people that maybe don't agree with you. And that's just how it's going to be. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. So, but no, your project you're working on here, I think that's going to be a good thing for the platform. I think it's something that people should consider if they have been here for a while and they're experienced and they maybe have a little bit of free time. I know that's a precious commodity nowadays, some time, but just even if you just take a few minutes a week to just help somebody out, that's maybe newer on the platform, just give them a little bit of encouragement or something, or if they have a question, maybe you can maybe answer it. Of course, we don't expect you to give financial advice to anybody or anything like that, of course, definitely not. But if you're able to say something basic to help them out on the platform, that would be awesome. And that's what's one of the things I love about the Steem blockchain and Steemit is that seems to be the general culture for the most part. People are friendly, they're helpful, and they're more likely to seem to want to help people out than I've noticed on other social media. Have you had that type of experience?
Absolutely. I happen to land in the Steam Speak community, which I know can be somewhat controversial, but there are some brilliant minds there who understand cryptocurrency much better than I do. Taught me the business end. I won't say taught. I'm learning the business end, and they helped me along the way. So join a community, network, get with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I always give everybody a little bit of opportunity if you have any other users you want to give a shout out to or any other projects you might be working on or communities that you're in. I'll kind of turn the mic over to you if you've got anything that kind of you want to talk about, or like I said, if you want to give out any shout outs to any users or anything like that.
Well, immediately I think of Brandy B, who was my first minnow that I adopted. Her chapter is ending and I'm starting my next quest. But Brandy B really took the ball. She actually was on this show last week. She did a great job of representing the Adopt a Minnow project, and she and some of her friends in the Alliance, which is a group that they have formed, have done a great job of promoting it, much better than I have. And they have really taken the ball forward. Check out the tag for minnows and smaller users, Adopt a Minnow. You can check out my blog for the second chapter post, which tells you how to apply for minnow adoption in the group that's currently working on it. And I did just create the account Adopt a Minnow to capture the name, and I'm not really clear where I'm going to head with it. I've had big ideas to turn it into a marketing site where people could actually pitch why they need to be adopted, but I'm not sure. Let's just see if it's a good idea and if it gets traction.
Well, go ahead, Snecky.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I am really in love with this project, and I hope it will go all over the globe with minnows getting adopted, and maybe you can adopt one too, Ming.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, and I feel like what we do on this show is part of that process, right? Part of that culture of helping people and giving people a little boost up, you know, because we put this out to everybody every week. You know, anybody who wants to join us can, as long as you're not somebody, I mean, that's out there plagiarizing or, you know, doing total bad posts and things like that, or blatantly, that type of thing. You know, we're not going to promote anything like that, obviously. But if you're, you know, a genuine person and you're trying and you're creating content on Steemit and you want to come on here and chat with us, you're more than welcome to do so. We have to do English speaking for now. That's the only language I speak. Sneck can do other languages, but I can't yet. But
maybe one day.
Maybe. But no, anybody is welcome to join us here on the show if you have a project you want to talk about, or just talk about you as a user. And honestly, we've had people on this show that were brand new, and many times, I mean, we're not tooting our own horn here, but many times they've come back to tell us that by being on this show, that helped them because it got their name out there a little more. They made some friends by chatting in the audience and things like that. So the more things you do on Steemit where you're engaging with the community, I think is something that will certainly help you, in my opinion. And of course, everything you hear on this show is strictly just our opinion. Always do your own research. But, you know, these are the things that we're doing and that have worked for us, and we're trying to share them with the community in the ways that we can. And I think your project, you know, is going to be something that hopefully will help out a lot.
Well, thank you, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about it. May I post a link to it? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You can put it right in the MSP Waves audience chat room there. That's where everybody's chatting. And again, we'll take this moment to say, you know, of course, thank you to everybody who's tuning in right now. Welcome to the radio show. This is the main event interview show on MSP Waves, which of course is part of the Minnow Support Project. And we do this show every Wednesday from 5 to 7 Eastern Time, which is 10 to midnight UTC. And you can find out all about the radio station on mspwaves.com. Find a full schedule of all the shows there.
And all the shows are made by Steemers, so
yes,
that's amazing.
It is awesome. So yes, we've got the link there to the Adopt a Minnow Chapter 2. So it'll be cool to read back all the chapters now. See, and then you could even do like little follow-ups, you know, like with people, like 6 months later, here's so-and-so, and, you know, that might be kind of cool too.
Excellent idea. Thank you.
You know, and hopefully these types of projects will grow and other people will come up with ways to help the community and things like that. And just, even if you don't do something like a big project, even if you're just out there being a curator, I think that's really important, you know, going out there and commenting on people's posts, giving them actual feedback, you know, things like that, you know, things that will actually help them improve. You know, if you see things in their posts, you know, let them know, you know, if there's things that you think like, oh, there's broken links, oh, there's, you know, things you could have did better or something, just let them know. I think that will help people improve.
And I also think that you should always try to reply to the people who reply to your post, because they take the time to write down something about your post, and answering them. You don't even have to upvote every comment they leave, but just interact with them as well, because those who reply on your post are going to be your followers. That's important.
I totally agree. Again, everybody, we're visiting with What's Up. You can find them on Steemit. It's at What's Up, just like it sounds.
What's up?
What's up? It's a good name, though, because you remember that one. That's a
Absolutely,
memorable
absolutely, yeah.
name.
I like to say it's a question and a statement.
Right? It is too. It has multiple purposes and a username. Well, shout out to everybody that's listening out in the audience chat right now. We appreciate you all listening. Does anybody have any questions for what's up? It can be, in regards to the project, or we've got people saying that they love the initiative. Uh, Coda says that. And yeah, if anybody's got questions for what's up, certainly let us know. But we appreciate you taking the time, obviously, to join us this evening. Seems
I
like.
just thought of one other thing
Sure,
that I forgot to say,
absolutely.
and that is I currently have a logo contest going on for the What's Up, the What's Up project, the Adopt a Minnow project, and there is a 10 SBD reward. It closes tomorrow, so kind of short notice, but if you have design skills, check out my post on the logo initiative.
Ooh, that's nice for the artsy people as well.
Absolutely. And they find that right on your Steemit profile.
Yeah. And that is an exciting thing about Steem too, is if you're not a blogger, you can find ways to work yourself into the economy in lots of different forms of art and graphic design, programming. I mean, we are creating a real and legitimate economy, and I think that is so exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's really fascinating to see where this will go. This whole Steem blockchain experience. In cryptocurrencies as a whole, really. It'll be really interesting to see what 2018 brings. I know it sounds like there's supposed to be some improvements and changes coming to Steemit soon. I don't know the exact details or anything, but I would hope so. We've been seeing lots of changes throughout the year in 2017. From where we started 2017 to where we finished it, the website looks totally different. There's different features now, things like that. So hopefully this will be a year where they will continue to improve.
I think there are a lot of amazing things coming with the platform itself. Uh, I'm excited for it and a little bit scared as well because every little thing that changes makes a shock in my head. Like now I have to learn this all over again.
Right? Yeah, hopefully it will be for the better, and it seems like you were saying, how many people joined in one day, you said?
Well, I don't know how many signed up
Uh,
yesterday, but they actually approved 12,000 new users yesterday.
wow. So that's good. I mean, if those are the kind of numbers we're going to start seeing, I mean, it's going to change the landscape. I know we're listening to this here in the Minnow Support Project, and I've noticed a huge influx of people who are coming into this group. Like the chat rooms are totally different now. It's like all different names, and that's a good thing. It's refreshing, and it's good to see new people joining us. And let's see.
Absolutely.
And did we
The
see
more
any
the better.
questions,
Oh, sorry.
Snack? Did you see any
I
questions in the audience? I was trying to look
no,
back, but
no, I don't see any
okay.
questions, but I keep interrupting you. I don't know why, so
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
take your time. Go ahead and talk. We all like to hear Snack talk, so.
I am trying my best today. I think I have already spoken more than the last few weeks. Right? No?
Yeah. You can always talk more. You can always talk more, put it that way.
Okay.
But no, we appreciate all of you taking the time to listen. Rico's posting some stats here in the audience. Let's check this out here. Yeah, no, Minnow Support's getting lots of people now. They're approaching 10,000 users just on Minnow Support Project. Here's a pretty cool chart that Rico just posted.
I have problems with reading statistics. For some reason, I can't get my head around them. I don't know why.
How does this chart work, Rico? Because I'm looking at this bottom one. It says 2018-03. So what is that? I don't know what that number is. 03. I don't know. What would that number be?
I think January 3? No.
Yeah, maybe I'm just reading that wrong. 18. Yeah, because I don't know what that. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, we appreciate that, Rico. Thank you. No, I mean, seeing all these new people joining, I mean, I've been seeing more people talking about it around too. I mean, we've been seeing a lot more big YouTube personalities joining Steemit. People from like television and radio and things like that slowly starting to make their way over here to Steemit and get Steemit profiles. A lot of the big YouTubers seem to be slowly finding out about things like DTube and things like that. That it's just an alternative. Maybe we're not saying it's better or worse or anything. It's just an alternative. So it seems like more and more people are finding out. It's kind of like a snowball effect, right? I mean, it's once more people find out about it, it's going to keep growing. But we'll see what happens. I mean, 2018 is going to be an interesting year for sure.
Yeah.
What's up? Do you have any other things you want to mention to the audience while you're here, or any other upcoming things you want to mention while you're here?
Gosh, I guess I'll just take the opportunity to once again shout out to Brandy B, who was the first minnow, and I'm hoping to shout out one of your names next time I come back.
All right. Well, that's awesome. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. You're welcome to hang out a little longer if you want. I think Rondon's still working with our second guest here, so but if you need to get going, that's totally fine as well. Just let us know.
I'll hang out and listen to the next speakers.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll keep you here talking for a few more minutes here, but again, everybody, you're listening to the Main Event Interviews radio show here on MSP Waves, and we are so glad you are joining us tonight. If you're listening to the live show, welcome, and you can chat along with us in the MSP Waves audience room, which is in the Peace, Abundance, Liberty Discord server. You can find
There are so many names.
I know, that's wonderful. There's lots of people in here tonight. It's great.
Yes.
And tonight we're chatting with What's Up. We do have another guest waiting in the wings. It's just having a little bit of audio technical difficulties, but we're working that out. And we do have some time in the second hour too here to have another guest on. So if you're out there and you would like to be on the show tonight, even if you only want to join us for 10 or 15 minutes or something, just to chat for a few minutes, send myself, Main Event, a DM, or you can send Poetic Snake one as well, and we'd be happy to try to get you on the show for a few minutes here tonight.
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to hear about everybody here on the platform.
Somebody was asking if I'm Canadian in the audience. No, but I'm really close to Canada. So I'm kind of like pseudo-Canadian, I guess.
Pseudo.
I have the ability to go to Canada here, really close to where I am. So I do live.
Your accent like Canadian then, right?
Yeah, basically, he says basically I'm Canadian. Yeah, basically I've played hockey in Canada before. So does that make me kind of like an honorary Canadian or something? I mean.
Mountie? Are you Mountie?
Yeah, that's funny. But no, I'm not Canadian. I'm from the United States also. I'm from Maine here in New England, so close to Canada though.
But there are bears, right?
There are bears, yes. But no, we appreciate all of you taking the time to join us each and every Wednesday from 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. And we are working on getting some relatively big name guests coming up here. I won't give them away, but we're trying to get some more well-known names to join us on the show. Not that there's anything wrong with new users either, but we are working on getting a few more people. So stick around for future episodes.
Are you going to tell me?
Maybe. I'll keep you in the loop, I guess.
Oh, cool.
But let's look in the audience chat right now. Let's see who's out there. You see any names you want to throw out there, Sneck?
Yeah, we can go down the list or we can go down the chat. What do you want me to do?
Go ahead and mention some of the names that you see.
Okay, I see the UX Yeti, Codex, Nuruddin is here, Sanyali is here, Sargento is still with us, And I still see Rico in the chat. But there are a lot of other names in the list on the left. So come and say hello in the chat room.
Absolutely.
And Shivam is still here with us. Oh, and Sheikh has joined us, and Freedom Exists. Good evening, everybody. Essie, hello.
Aloha.
Aloha. And we always wonder where you're all from, by the way.
Yeah, why don't we go around the world right now? Everybody, if you don't mind, if you could type out the country that you're listening from, or the state, or whatnot. But if you want to type that out and let us know where you're listening from, and we will see where everybody is. I see a Wyoming. I see Bulgaria, Portland, Oregon.
London, Romania, Dubai.
Mumbai.
Ooh, India, Mumbai. Bosnia and Herzegovina.
And Hawaii.
Pennsylvania. Ooh, Sweden.
That's amazing.
Cali and Brazil as well. Oh my gosh.
If you don't mind, Snack, are you able to maybe jot some of those down for me?
Do what? Sorry?
Actually, I can do it here. Let me copy. I want to kind of make a little list of all the places people are typing out where they're listening from. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's really interesting. It's a lot of different countries. It's like all over the world. We're officially, we've gone global.
We did a world trip and we didn't even know it.
Right?
It's amazing. I haven't traveled this fast in ages.
That's amazing. All right. Well, I haven't heard an update yet on our second guest, so we will hold off on that. Freedom Exists was actually messaging me, seeing if they wanted to jump on the show. So, Freedom, if you're out there and you're listening and you do want to jump on the show, just kind of give me a little yes or a thumbs up here in the chat, and I can bring you onto the show if you're interested. So we have a few minutes here.
Yes, would be cool.
And what's up? Of course, we appreciate you taking the time to join us as well. Thank you so much.
Freedom Exists. Let's give you the thumbs up.
Cool. But yeah, everybody, so you can check out What's Up's profile. Snek, if you want to share that one last time in the chat room. So if anybody's interested in the whole project that they were working on for helping out new minnows and new users and things, you can find out more about that on their blog. So yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What's up?
Thank you, and thanks for giving me some time to pitch the project. I hope it resonates with some people out there.
Absolutely.
It was really great to have you and hearing you talk about this project, and I love this project. I can't say it enough. I love it. Adopt a minnow, people. Look it up.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to jump off.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. So that was What's Up. You can find them on Steemit. And Freedom, I'm going to send you a link to the chat that you can go to, and then I will move you into the live on air room. So again, everybody, you're listening to the main event interview show here on MSP Waves Radio. And we will try to get another guest on here. So Freedom, I sent you a DM for the link there that you'll need to join. So if you're still listening, just click that link. There he is. And we'll move him to live on air. Hello, Freedom Exists.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Am I live on this show right now?
You absolutely are.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I've been meaning to pop in to see you guys for some time, but I've been so busy. I just haven't had the time, so I apologize.
Oh, no problem. We're really grateful to have you here tonight, even if it's, just for a few minutes or whatnot. Thank you for taking a few moments and joining us.
Yes, it's amazing to have you here.
Oh, well, it's great to be here. I hear lots of good things about MSP and PAL, so it's really nice to be here.
Now, Freedom Exists. Remind everybody whereabouts you're from in the world.
London. That's where I am at the moment.
Okay, cool. So you're joining us from London, and you've been a previous guest on the show. What types of things are you working on nowadays on your Steam blog or your Steam profile?
Yeah, you interviewed me back in the summer when I was 3 months, 4 months on Steemit, and still learning lots. And what I've been doing since then has been, well, stuff that I just couldn't have ever really imagined happening. It's just been one hell of an experience. The vast majority of it all positive. So since speaking to you last, main event, I've been quite involved in the Welshares community, which I think you know a fair bit about. It does quite a lot of good to try and help minnows in the community, give them extra support as much as we can. And I personally run a show now, the Promote Your Post show. It's a live event. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think you have. You've been to one of them, haven't you? I think.
Absolutely. You want to talk a little bit more about it, like what time you do it and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't come on here to kind of plug that or anything. I'm
No,
just
it's totally fine.
cool. I'm just, it's just funny because I saw you were calling for an interviewee, and I thought, well, it'd be quite interesting to do a comparative context from when you last interviewed me and what's happened with Steemit and my personal Steemit journey. But yeah, I'm doing this live Promote Your Post show. Was doing it once a week. We've now gone up to twice a week because to try and keep up with demand. So bit of a victim of my own success in many ways, without sounding too big-headed. But yeah, we've introduced the second show, and it's going great. It just gives people, a platform for a couple of hours where they can come together, have a chat, get some upvotes and re-steams. And quite often, what I'm seeing now is that a lot of people making new connections with my show. So it's really nice to see all of that happening.
Yeah, I was with your show last week and I had a lot of fun. It's good to see the post that they are sharing in there and spreading the love about it. And I also love the way that you talk about the post shared in that room. It's like you look at the post and immediately you are drawn into it and you can speak about it. And I admire that. It's really cool. I love being there, so always try to be there at least one time a week.
Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say that. But do you know what? It's more a testament, really, I think, to the people and all the steamers and Steemians out there who are doing really, really great work, to be honest with you. A lot of the content that they bring to the show is just I'm automatically drawn to it. So it's more a testament to them and the work that they're doing. Because some of the stuff I've seen, I would never, ever have been exposed to had I not been on Steemit.
Yeah, I think that is the wonderful thing about Steemit. All the different sites and the specs that people share here, it's just mind blowing at times.
It is. I think that's the right word. It is mind blowing. Absolutely. I've been so impressed, so exhilarated at times, and it's been really really unique experience.
Yeah, no, and I think the types of show you're doing, and then of course, there's other people that do similar things and things like that. Places where people can come on, and even this radio show, places where people can come on and actually chat with other users in the community, showcase their content, things like that. I think are a great thing for Steemit. Don't you agree?
Oh, totally. And you know what? The more platforms that exist, the better. Because even now, there's still not enough of them. So if other networks decide to do shows like mine, then that's great. The more the better, because Steemit is expanding every day, as you were just talking about. I think so. The more platforms that exist that give exposure to people, then the better.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, your show is really great, and it's cool that it is even tied to, like some rewards and things like that. And, the Whale Shares project as a whole seems like it's been a relatively good thing for people on Steemit and things, in my opinion. So, no, it's cool to see, the things you guys are doing over there. And if you want to share a link to the server, that's totally fine too. Because I think that is another community where people can chat with people and get to know other users as well. So feel free to do that if you'd like. Again, we're chatting with Freedom Exists right now. I just shared his profile link in the chat. Sneck did as well.
I am so fast today.
Yes, freedom is on the air, Cubby. Absolutely.
Hello, Cubby.
I hope you're feeling better, Cubby.
Oh, has she been ill?
Yes.
Like me, I've just been getting over flu. What's the matter with Cubby? Is she okay?
I hope she is.
She's surviving, she says, so that's good.
That's good.
Now, Freedom, do you have any other things you want to talk about while you're here? You said you kind of wanted to do a little recap. I can't. When did we interview you? Do you remember when it was roughly, like what month or whatnot? I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. I know it's been a little while.
Oh yes, it was August.
August,
believe.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a while.
So yeah, it has been a little while, and yeah, I mean, in terms of what's happened, I mean, it was only shortly after that interview that I got involved with Well Shares, actually, and from that moment onwards, my Steemit experience completely changed. So and for the better. So yeah, I mean, as I've just mentioned, I've been involved with Well Shares. There's lots of things going on. I mean, we're going through a bit of a tough period. Well, we went through one about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, when BlockTrades pulled the delegate or reclaimed the delegation on one of the Whale Shares whales. So that presented quite a challenge. But do you know what? It was great to see how me and others in the community pulled together to make sure that the project goes on. And it was great to get all the support from everybody else as well. So that was really nice to see that. And you know what? It's just another dimension of the Steemit journey, because it's a real strong sense of community on Steem. I've never ever come across a social media platform like it. So that sense of community is real, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to respond on that at all, Snack? She's still there. Go ahead, Snecky. I'll respond.
Snecky's run away on me. I can't believe it.
I'll
oh
respond.
my gosh, oh my.
You weren't pushing to talk, were you?
Oh, forgive me, please.
Oh, you're fine. No worries. I'll respond to it. I mean, it's great to see everybody growing on here on Steemit. You know, like, we haven't talked since August. You know, I'm sure you've had a lot of things happen with your blog and things, and you've, like you said, you've been working with the Whale Shares project, and it is amazing to see the growth and the transformation of people here, and to see when projects are doing really well, and then maybe they have some struggles, and to see them maintain themselves, you know, because of the people behind it. I think that's a really good thing, and I've seen that happen in a few different groups where there was some turmoil, and you know, and it was kind of wondered whether it would hold itself together, and these groups seem to be able to do that. They're pretty resilient, the people behind them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a real genuine effort made, I think, when things get tough, and that's been so nice to see that, because in other areas of life in general, people often walk away when the going gets tough. You know, they think, well, I can't be doing with that. You know, it's not my problem. Thanks, goodbye. But on Steemit, you know, what I've experienced is the opposite. I've seen people pulling together, coming together, and really trying to resolve whatever the issue is. So it's great to see that strength of community.
Yeah, I have to agree with that fully. It's amazing to see that if there's somebody having a problem, may that be with a program that's not working or a project that's not starting up the way it is, how people just come together and jump together and just are ready to help. I think I have not experienced that on any other platform.
No, and that is, you know, the unique thing about Steemit. It's a very, very unique environment, and I just hope that, you know, it's great to see it expanding the way it is, and I just hope that it can retain those really positive qualities that we're all enjoying at the moment.
Absolutely. We are visiting with Freedom Exists right now here on the radio show. Thank you so much to all of you who are out there listening. If anybody, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
You do a Steemit story chain. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's something different that I do. That's my creative expression coming out there. I enjoy TV and film screenwriting. That's my main passion, really. But it's an industry that still eludes me. I haven't quite broken that one yet, but I'm still knocking on doors. But yeah, the Steemit story chain is something that I've been doing now for quite a few months. Again, sponsored by Wellshares. And it just invites people to continue using the comment box, continue developing a story that I start in the post. So it becomes this chain, story chain. And people just write and develop the story in their own way, and it's been going great. I mean, some of the writing and the quality of writing, I really hope that some of these people out there are at least halfway down a road that sees them being published or something, because there is some truly fantastic creative writing out there on Steemit.
Yeah, I've read some of the replies to your chain post, and some just really are amazing. I wonder, why have these people not written a book by now? It's just, you discover these amazing talented writers, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've often questioned that. As I just said a moment ago, I really hope they are very close to securing some kind of publisher deal, because some of the quality of writing is absolutely fantastic. Very, very professional.
Absolutely. Well,
may I ask you a question, mate?
Sure, absolutely.
What's been going on here since August? Tell me the highlights.
Well, we still are doing this radio show. I think that's right around when we started the show. Actually, it was, I think, June or July or something like that. So we've done the show every single Wednesday since that time. We've never missed a show. So we've done this every single week. We've interviewed dozens of different people from the Steemit platform, which has been amazing, which of course has led to other things. I have become a moderator in Minnow Support Project, so that is a lot of fun to help out in there. And I also am still a curator for the OCD project, and I also curate now with Minnow Support Project and Muxibot as well. So I'm spending a lot of time looking for content every day on Steemit. I have been focusing a lot of my curation on new users in the Introduce Yourself tag. So I'm trying to go in there and welcome them to the platform and things like that. So that's been a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends since that time. Everybody that's interacting here with us in the chat and things like that. It's great having all of this community around me now here on Steemit. That's really wonderful, and I feel blessed to have that. So that's been what's been keeping me busy for sure, between the radio shows and moderating and curating and creating my own content, things like that.
Wow, you've been very, very busy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's great to see what you, like you say, what you've built up. It's a real credit to you. It's absolutely fantastic. But you've got a lot of, as the saying goes, you've got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies on Steemit, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I worry that I do too much, but it's all in good fun, and I enjoy it, and so it's not a stressful thing at all. It's wonderful, and I enjoy it. So it is a blessing for me, and I'm grateful to be here. Put it that way.
Yeah, I echo that exact same sentiment. Sometimes my shows, they're quite intense, to be honest with you. For 2 hours solid, I've got to be constantly engaged with people's posts. It's work, but I enjoy it, and it's great.
All right, we are coming up close to the top of the hour here. Again, welcome everybody. It's great to have you here listening with us. And Freedom Exists, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to while you're here or anything like that?
Yes, I must say hello to Cubby, because I've just learnt she's been unwell, like me, with the flu. I've just been getting over it. Quite a nasty one, actually. I haven't been that ill for quite a long time, so it was quite a reminder of the fact that we're not invincible. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear Cubby's not well, but hopefully she's she's turned a corner, I hope. So hello, Cubby. I would say hello to Snecky, of course, but we've already had a nice chat. So yeah. And hello to Sargento. He was quite keen for me to come on the show. I've had a brief chat with Sargento before, but I don't know him that well. But it's nice to have his seal of approval. So hey, Sargento.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat seems to like your accent. Your perfectly spoken English.
Oh, well, thank you. But as you know, Snecky, I like your voice and accent.
Oh, don't start flirting with me again.
Why not?
Because then we have to go to, what was it again? Panama?
Yes, we've already decided our retirement location, haven't we? Yes, Panama. Perfect.
Yes, you bring your socks, right?
Of course.
I think MSP Waves has a lot of awesome voices. That's what I will say. A lot of the people who come on here, it's always fun, and that's what I love about this show, is that we get to hear everybody's voices. You kind of we've talked about this before, and you kind of get a picture of what somebody looks like or what they would sound like, based on their picture or their content or whatnot. And then when you actually do hear their voice, it's always fascinating to me.
And you're always wrong. At least I am always wrong.
Right?
Yes, you're right. The image you've built up in your mind can often be shattered, but quite often in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. Mostly in a good way, to be honest. I'm always surprised when I hear a new voice speaking. And voices, they are so powerful. You can do so much with your voice. And I love hearing all the different accents and all the different kind of voices. It brings me happiness.
Yeah, it's nice. No, absolutely. It gives us that real insight into somebody else's life. Gives that whole new dimension. But yeah, a voice can say a lot about someone.
All right, everybody, where it is the top of the hour here. It's 6 o'clock on the east coast of the U.S., which should be now 11 o'clock UTC time. Thank you all so much for tuning into the show. My name is Main Event on Steemit. I'm here with my co-host, Poetic Snake.
It's me.
And we're visiting right now with Freedom Exists. And we appreciate you all taking the time to join us tonight. We have another hour here to go, and I have for sure one more guest coming, and then I have another guest that's kind of a maybe. They were going to do their best to get here. So we'll save that one for near the end. So I'm hoping that one can be here tonight, but if not, that's okay. We'll rearrange for another time.
Now I'm getting nervous.
We've had a lot of different people on this show, and again, it ranges from brand new users who have just joined all the way up to, we've had some of the top witnesses and different people on the show, people with, thousands of followers, things like that. We love talking to everybody. It doesn't matter where you're at in your Steam experience. We're grateful to have you here with us.
And I think that every story is different and every story is interesting to hear.
Absolutely. What is the current user figure up to now? Do you know? You were talking about it before, weren't you?
For Steemit, you mean, or for Minnow Support?
Yeah, sorry, Steemit, yeah.
I don't know the exact number for Steemit. Someone else in the audience might know. If anybody does know the number that we're right around for roughly for users, Rico had posted a bunch of images. I'd have to scroll back.
600,000, Savo says. Yeah. I don't know how many of those are active, but that's an impressive figure.
Rondon level up. Right, and I mean, a lot of people, there of course are people that have duplicate accounts too. Some people control 2 or 3 different accounts, that type of thing. So I mean, obviously that happens too. So I don't know how many unique users it is, actually unique people. But it's certainly growing. I'm just reading the chat, all the different things people are saying.
Yeah, me too.
That's funny. But yeah, no, it's certainly growing. You can definitely see it. I mean, we've seen it in the Minnow Support Project. We've seen huge growth in the last just few months. A lot of people are joining. So the numbers are certainly getting up there.
Do you think that's reflected in the price of Steam, which has done an amazing bounce back since last week? I think it was.
See, I'm not an expert in any of that stuff when it comes to any of it. So this is all. I didn't own any cryptocurrencies at all when I first joined Steemit. So Steemit was my first experience with the whole thing. So I don't know anything about that to comment on it. But I'm hopeful that that's the case. More people joining should mean more demand, that type of thing. But again, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Always do your own research. But
get that in that disclaimer.
oh,
Yeah,
I got to. I'm good at that. So, but yeah, I mean, hopefully this will be a good year for us, right? I mean, it's I all I can say is I look back to November when Steem and Steam dollars were both under $1, and I can remember saying for a long time, for whether we were on this show or whatnot, we were ever talking about the price and things. I was always like, well, as long as it stays around $1, I'll be happy. I can remember saying that quite often. So the fact now that it's 5 times that much or more, it's like I think we all have a lot to be happy about, and hopefully it's just going to continue to grow.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's come on leaps and bounds. To think that it would even get to $6 or $7, I think it is now at the moment. If someone told me that a few months back, I'd be like, no chance. But look, here we are. It's happened. It's amazing. But it's something that you just said, actually, Main Event, which I think is very interesting. You said, and it's exactly what happened to me. I knew nothing really about cryptocurrency. So for me, Steem, it was the gateway to cryptocurrency. And it completely opened my mind up. So I think Steemit for a lot of people will be that pathway into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think so as well. I heard about Bitcoin before I joined Steemit. I looked into Bitcoin before, but other things not so much. It started when Steemit came into my life that I started to get into crypto more and more. And obviously, I am far from an expert. I just do what I like, and that's not always a good thing. But you learn by making mistakes as well, and you learn by listening to all the amazing people here on the platform who share their knowledge. And of course, just don't take their word, but do your own research, and just find out. Listen, learn, and try.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've learned so much. I can't tell you how much I've learned from other people. But at the end of the day, you have to go with your own judgment and your own instinct, definitely, when it comes to cryptocurrency. So yeah, it's. I mean, yes, you're right. I'd heard of Bitcoin actually. It popped up in the news every now and then. I thought, well, what's this about? But certainly never really seriously explored it until Steemit came into my life, which, as I say, really got me involved in the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and that's one thing that Steem has going for it is kind of a good little what is the right word, a gateway or whatnot to kind of get you into the whole space, because you can kind of learn about it. It provides you with a community to ask questions. Again, of course, no one here is a financial expert, and you always have to do your own research, but you can at least communicate with people and see what other people are doing. That's what I did, and I just kind of learned along the way and looked up things and tried to figure it out. And it's a big endeavor getting into this space. I will say that, in my opinion. So don't just dive right in not knowing what you're doing. At least look up some things and learn. Take your time and learn, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah, never invest more than you are. Then you can lose.
Right.
I think
Oh yeah, that's
Steve Rose
absolutely.
said that a few times, and I kept that in my mind.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. Now, Freedom Exists. We'll probably wind this down here, but are there any other things you wanted to add while you're here? Any upcoming projects you want to talk about, or just you might as well mention when the show is one last time before you get going. But is there any other things you wanted to mention while you're here?
Oh, I think I've covered most things, to be honest with you. But thank you for having me. It's been great to come back. Yeah, I was only coming in to just have a little listen, to be honest with you, and just be part of the audience. But it was then you were shouting out for someone, and I thought, well, I'll put my name forward, and here I am. I'm on the show again, so it's fantastic. I'm glad this show is still here, because I hear so many people talking about it. It's just getting the time often to come in. But I promise you, I will venture in much more often, I promise.
We appreciate it, and I know everybody was glad to have you here. Sneck, do you want to say any goodbyes?
Yes, goodbye, Freedom Exists, and I'm sure that we will talk again soon. Thank you for jumping on. It's amazing to hear your voice again and your nice little accent.
Well, thank you. And I just thought I'd put two little promos there and a link to the server in the chat.
Not a problem at all. So yeah, no, that's Freedom Exists, everybody. You can find him on Steemit at Freedom Exists. And you can certainly check out his blog as well if you'd like. thank you for taking the time to join us tonight.
Thanks, guys. Take care, and look forward to coming in more often.
Absolutely.
See you in Panama.
Definitely.
All right, everybody. So that was Freedom Exists here on the Main Event Interviews radio show. Again,
I'm ready to try my English accent now.
You're ready to try your English accent now?
Can I offer you a cup of tea? Is that sounding English?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not English, so I can't make that definite distinction. So
I should have asked when he was still here, right?
All right, Snecky. Do you?
Yes.
I'm gonna send you something here, and
Okay.
you can see if you want to read it or not.
Uh-oh.
You got to change where it says insert, name here. So you might want to read it first. But yeah, go ahead and read it to yourself first, and then I'll get this going here. So we're gonna get our next guest ready to go here, and shout out to Rondon for helping us out with our technical things here. So I'm hoping his microphone's going to be working here. I'll unmute him in just a moment. But again, you are listening to the Main Event Interview show here on MSP Waves. I go by Main Event on Steemit. I just spelled it with the number 1 in there instead of an I. And so you can find me on Steemit, and I do post the show audio on there every week. So if you missed any of the show tonight, or if you want to go back and listen to previous episodes, you again can find that right on my Steemit blog. And I'm here, of course, with my co-host Poetic Snake. And
That's
Snecky,
me.
do you want to go ahead and do you want to read that?
Of course I will. MSP Waves Radio and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guest. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the radio station. The material here on this show, the Main Event Interview show, is provided for educational and informational purposes only.
And of course, I will add, it all is just strictly our opinions. Always do your own research. We are not experts of anything. None of this is advice. So do your own research, take your own risks as you feel are appropriate.
That was my chance to say do your own research, and I totally blew it.
We'll get another chance before the show's over. So
Yay!
Somebody was asking why I used the number 1 in my username. Well, it was my gamer tag at one point for playing video games. And when I joined Steemit, I had no idea what to use for a username, so I just used that. So I've stuck with it, and it's kind of I probably shouldn't have done it because some people, for one, they don't know how to pronounce it, and then when I say it, it isn't spelled the way I say it, of course, so it probably does create a little bit of an issue for me, but overall, people have still managed to find their way to my blog and things, so...
I like to say Mawani event.
Mawani event, yeah. But no, it's wonderful to have you all here with us. Thank you so much. And all right, Daryl, if you're there, I'm gonna unmute your mic. Oh no, he just jumped out. I hope he. Hold on. I hope he's all set. Let me unmute him. I'm hoping you can.
I think I can hear you.
All right, Daryl. Hey, we hear you.
You can't hear me?
We hear you.
Oh, Eureka.
It's like a miracle.
Hey, Daryl.
Hello, Snicky. How are you, dear?
I'm doing rather well. It's so good to finally have you here.
It was quite the adventure.
It was, yes.
We got to give a shout out to Rondon for helping us out. Thank you, Ron.
Big time. I mean, he said there was one screenshot I sent him. He said, if you had not sent me that, I would not believe it was possible. So something odd went on trying to make all this happen.
Well, you're here now. We've jumped
Great.
all the hurdles, and you're here. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Daryl Sprout. Is that what you prefer us to call you? We should just call you Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl's fine. A lot of people call me Snake Man. In fact, in one industry where they want a one-word nickname, they just call me Snake, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm Snake 73 on Steemit, which, it's funny. I got looking back, and I'm probably going to go ahead and start another Steemit account under my real name. for people that want to find me that way, because I do more than just the snake thing, right? But I used my real name on Discord, and now I'm thinking I got those two perfectly backwards, you know?
Yeah, I kind of thought about that too. Like I was just talking about, I did my username on Steemit, and I kind of sort of messed that up. And I thought about going back after the fact and making a new profile and stuff, but I just never did. But I guess it's different for everybody, and it depends on your personal opinion on it, I guess. So, I mean, if you're thinking you would rather use that, you certainly could. And then you could keep the other one maybe as, like, I don't want to say like an alter ego or just different types of content or something like that, maybe you could have on
Charm
each different one.
snakes, you never know.
Yeah, and who knows? I suppose theoretically they could upvote each other, right?
Well, you may not want to do that.
No.
people may not like that too much.
Is that unethical?
I mean, that's an open opinion, and that every person would argue that differently. But I mean, yeah, I don't know, but we'll leave that one alone. But no, it's
slippery slope.
You said it's Snake 73, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got the right link here, I think.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so that's your blog profile. Now, how long have you been on Steemit so far?
Longer than I care to admit, because I have egg on my face about it.
Okay.
I was big time. I was introduced to it by my friend Quinn Aker, who runs the they're the Garden of Eden, and he's my other dolphin friend. But back when he got me into it, he was almost as new to it as I am now. And they have turned that into a significant force on Steemit. And he said, look at, where I'm at compared to where you are right now. And I'm like, all right. So one of my New Year's resolutions was to listen to Quinn more, especially at least about this subject. But, and he was right. I mean, I've got a pretty significant following on Facebook. People tell me I give good Facebook, but the fact is that when you're creating content that really it's for the benefit of Facebook, and most of what I learned about how to navigate the thing and what to ignore and all that sort of stuff was really just to help friends not get victimized by it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes,
yeah, okay.
Absolutely. I was responding to somebody in the chat at the same time.
I hear you.
No, if anybody is just tuning in, welcome to the show. This is the Main Event Interview Show, and what we do every week is we bring different members of the Steemit community on the show, kind of talk to them, get to know them a little better, find out more about their blog. We, of course, like hearing their voices and things like that. So it's wonderful to have everybody here listening, and then, of course, it's great to have the guests on the show. So if anybody is tuning in for the first time, that's what we do here. We kind of get to know different Steemians. And right now we have, it's Daryl Sprout on Discord, but his Steemit profile is at Snake73. So if you want to find him on Steemit.
So as for the snake part of it, first of all, I'm based in Dallas, and I do a very unusual show about snakes. I'm the world's only stand-up comic snake handling magician. I use comedy and magic to help tell my story, which is basically stop killing snakes. And by the way, there's a lot of other things that are alive in this world that aren't human that you should leave alive while you're at it, So I specialize in getting people over phobias. My specialty is ophidiophobia, which is the fear of snakes. But I mean, once you understand how a phobia works and how to face it and how to get over it, it's the same mechanism works every time. And a phobia is a Christmas present you haven't opened yet. It has a huge gift to give you if you get past it. So but a lot of people are afraid of snakes, and that's what I do. I was for many years a professional field herpetologist fixing snake problems. I still do some of that, but I do a live show for schools and museums and scout troops and festivals and birthday parties about snakes. And I've got more stories than we've got time for. I mean, I'll never forget the 16-year-old girl. It was her sweet 16 party, and her mother was a real adventure type, and she wanted to do the immersion therapy on her kid because she'd already taken her on all kinds of crazy adventures, but her kid was afraid of snakes. I mean, cute little blonde girl, right, who was really afraid of snakes. And so I came in without any identification of what I was doing, and I said, I want to congratulate you on your surprise party, and glad to be a part of it. And I have a question for you. Are you an animal lover? And she smiled real big, and then she got real scared and ran for the door. And by the end of it, I had her smiling and, posing like the rest of her crowd did. It's like any other fear. If you stare it down in a controlled environment, it melts like ice on a warm day.
Well, all of that is really fascinating. I think that's really cool that you do all of that. That makes you very unique for sure. So I think that's really awesome. Now, do you have is there places where people can see? Are you going to share some of that on Steemit, or have you done so already?
I have done so already.
Okay.
My introduction thing talks about it. There's also there's a fun post about a lady. I also have an 800 number nationwide, which I suppose I can just give out, because if anybody has a snake problem or a snake issue, you won't be able to talk to me directly this way. You have to leave a voicemail, but it's 1-800-339-9470. And I mostly have people calling that have snake problems, and I do have a small network of a ragtag bunch of intrepid field herpetologists across the country that if you're within a 150-mile radius of them, then you're willing to pay for it. They will come out and be the expert for your problem. But in a whole lot of cases, all they really need is to understand what they're up against and the steps to take. A lot of times, if the guy comes out, there's no guarantee, obviously, that we're going to leave with a snake. The snake may not be there when we get there. And all of the stuff that needs to be done to make a house snake proof, which does not include repellents, by the way, none of them work. But there are things you can do to a home. Snakes don't get inside, and if you are getting snakes inside anyway, there's reasons for that, and you should address it. And in all probability, your snake is actually doing you a huge favor, and you should leave him alone and name him George. There is a whole lot of rat snakes across the eastern half of the United States that are, because of me, named George. George is your friend. George can do $100,000 worth of pest control in his lifetime. You know what I mean? A rat snake can't hurt you. He can't hurt your kid, can't hurt your cat. So unless you have a hamster, George is your friend. So at any rate, the whole that article was about a lady who was just losing her mind. I mean, she hadn't been out of her house in 3 days. She was in a complete panic state over a snake that she found. And it took me 20 minutes to get her laughing and happy and back in control of her life and back in possession of her own property. I do this stuff all the time. And a lot of times, and this was one of those situations, so I figure out that there's probably not going to be any money in this call. Now I'm really kind of working on behalf of the snake. But it's amazing how many lives I get to touch that way.
Yeah, so I find that really amazing. That's really, really awesome that you're able to do all of that, and that you can actually help the animals too. That part is really cool, that you're not only doing something for the humans, but you're helping the animal too.
So is Sneki still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
I want to say a huge thank you for taking me under. I have been learning much about. I really, going back, I should have listened to Quinn, and I really should have studied. I should know what I'm doing by now, and I don't. And it's like the more I dig into it, the more I realize I don't know. But she has been a wealth of information right in the right places. I can see mostly what I know now is that there's an awful lot more I need to know. But I'm on fire about it now, and I really wasn't before. And it's funny because the same thing happened to me about Bitcoin. You were talking about Bitcoin. I was at basically a hippie camp out sort of festival event thing about 5 years ago. And there was a guy who was did a lecture about permaculture, but he spent a big chunk of it about Bitcoin. And the lecture was good. I was pretty inspired and all that, but I had a bad feeling about the guy, which I actually some years later found out was exactly accurate. But that doesn't mean he was wrong about Bitcoin. And boy, am I an idiot. I wish I could go back in time and throw a little bit at Bitcoin, because that exact time span would be fun to look at now if I didn't touch it, So the whole crypto thing, I what I said back then was, we'll see. And boy, I saw,
Yeah, I think a lot of us have those stories, not the exact same story, but similar ones. I mean, I know myself, I've said this before on the show, a year ago, right around now or so, I was about 2 clicks away from, creating my account and buying some Bitcoin, and I didn't do it. I chickened out, and, here we are today, and it's gone up, 10 times. But I mean, that's always woulda, coulda, shoulda. You can't. You got to try to not beat yourself up over that type of thing. Because of that experience, though, it made me, when I discovered Steemit, it made me really want to try Steemit. So maybe if I hadn't done that or whatnot, I maybe wouldn't have found my way here. Who knows? So, kind of everything happens for a reason. But I think it's really amazing, the things that you're doing, and I think that that was a wealth of content that you could certainly share on Steemit.
Well, yeah, I've been thinking about how much more about that topic, because frankly, since the nuts and bolts about how to deal with snake issues and whatnot, I was just trying to get it to where my audience was a little bit bigger before I just really spilled all those beans. This used to be back in the early days of when I was actually just a senior field herpetologist for a company called Snake Removal Inc. I mean, this was closely guarded information. I mean, we charged you even if all we did was identify your animal for you. You know what I mean? Send us a picture, and for this small fee, we'll tell you if it's venomous or not, and we'll probably tell you exactly what it is. Do that as a matter of course now. I mean, that's a free service I offer to anybody who calls that 800 number. If you go to the trouble of leaving me a message and you ask me to call you back, I will give you a cell phone number. If you will send me a picture I can see your snake in, I will tell you what he is, no charge, always. And it's I understand why the old model tried to monetize it all the time, but back then it was a different world. I mean, people called the exterminator thinking they'd come fix the snake problem. And of course, there's no pest control thing you can do about it. There's no spray, there's no powder, there's no chemical that works. And by the time you get pesticides strong enough to kill a snake, you're killing people, or at least you're poisoning them really bad. And there's a law against that. So, yeah, but Steemit, I absolutely, I guess what I just need to do is well, perhaps that'll be a snaky question about whether I should do more smaller articles and feed it out gradually, or because I don't know, the long one I did a fairly long article about phobias, and once it's an hour old, it's old, right? On Steemit, that's the thing I'm trying to get a feel for.
Kind of. It seems like most posts get the most of their views in the first hour or two. Yeah, it's because it's the way it's laid out on the website. It all just kind of rolls down that continuous feed. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I
if it's
noticed that.
so if you're not seeing it right there at the top of the feed when it's posted, it just gets buried, you know. So that's where, you know, networking with people and building up your followers is always good, because hopefully your followers will just kind of go to your blog specifically to look at your content, type of thing. But that's always a challenge to get that, you know, to get that loyal following. And that's what every blog struggles to do and strives to do, is to try to just get that loyal following, you know, and that's hard to do.
Hmm.
But I think your content, I mean, I can see the people in the chat room reacting to you right now, and they're loving it. So once more people find out about you, I think, and find out about the types of things you're doing, and you know, it gets around type of thing, I think that's when you'll start to see more and more people leaving comments, and then it's kind of a snowball effect after that. Like once you get that base of people who are familiar with you and what you do on the platform.
Cool.
And that, of course, is just my opinion.
Always do your own research.
Yes.
Yeah, do your own research. Yeah, well, and the problem is snakes, especially everybody in this country knows something about snakes, and most of it's wrong. There is more misinformation out there about this topic than any topic I know. I could just throw a few examples at you just for fun. You ever heard of a snake hole? Ever seen a snake hole?
No.
It's a pit.
Say what?
It's a pit.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a snake hole. If a snake is in a hole, the snake stole the hole. They have nothing to dig a hole with.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So if a snake goes in a hole, it's usually to a person who's in, ergo the myth of snake holes. Yeah, snake repellents. I mean, you can still, at any Home Depot, you can buy snake away. It's a combination of mothballs and sulfur, which are the two most popular wives' tales, right behind lime, kerosene, diesel fuel, chicken blood, and horsehair rope. And the stuff smells awful. Mothballs and sulfur. Mothballs have two effects. One is to get rid of your moths, and the other is to make your home smell like old people live there.
Did you say that those Did you say that those do work or don't work?
They do not work. There
They
is
do
no
not
snake
work.
repellent.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. See,
Snake away is, I mean, and it's funny too, because my favorite, one of the companies that sells my favorite kind of snake tongs, and they're awesome. They're amazing for not just picking up a snake safely and humanely by the middle, never use it on the, you know what I mean, tongs. They're kind of like the tongs that old people use to pick stuff up off a high shelf they can't reach,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
But way better, you know what I mean? A whole lot stronger. Let all the strength wrist or your hand at the other end of two paddles. But they're also amazing, for the frisbee on the roof, or the softball under the bush, or the underwear that fell behind the dryer. And this company, one of the companies that sells, because it was easy to say, I would refer people to it. I went on their website, and I was horrified to see that they sell snake away. And I'm like, it doesn't work, don't you? And they said, yes, we do. I said, then why do you sell it? They said, because people feel better when they use it, and they. I said, that is a horrible answer.
Yeah, business world is not kind usually. Yeah, unfortunately, that's unfortunate, but
Stop killing snakes.
right?
Yes, there's no reason to kill the snake. If it's venomous, that is the most likely way to get bit.
Right.
Which in this country is a $50,000 mistake.
Yeah.
Like everything else in the United States, medical care for snake bite is ridiculously overpriced. And the chance, the thing is, a $50,000 mistake with no complications. It could easily go way, way, way higher. Right. And the fact is that the venom isn't meant for self-defense. It's not meant for humans at all. They only bite when they think something's trying to kill them, like some crazy human with a shovel. And I say in my show, 8 out of 10 people who are bitten by venomous snakes were snake at the time. And the other two had just said, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, you won't see me going after any snakes, that's for sure. I'm good. They can
Oh, you
be
got a bit
pest
of a phobia
control.
on your own, do
Not
you?
not a phobia, but I would say that I let them do their thing, that type of thing. I'm not going to certainly attack one or something like that. I would let them
True.
exist. You know, there's
But if you
True.
met one, that you have kids, awesome. If I handed him to you, would you touch him?
sure.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's kind of what the show's about. All of my scary turns out to be funny, and there is stuff that even the most petrified human, as long as they don't drop it, and even then, it's not going to defend itself. It'll just be sad for the snake, which of course we talk them through so that doesn't happen. But I've got animals that you know can put up with 20 or 30 Cub Scouts at a time. Do that.
Well, I think that's all really interesting, and I think that if you can somehow, this is just my opinion, but I think if you maybe you could even consider maybe doing like videos or vlogs or some kind of content like that, maybe where you're actually showing what you're doing and talking about it and things like that, and so it's visual. I think people would think that was really interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
my introduction post does actually have a link to one of my YouTube clips. You can find me on YouTube. My name. You'll also find something else that I do if you do that. Understand though, if to listeners hearing this, if you do understand that most of what you're seeing was done for an adult audience, whereas of course I wouldn't say I'm primarily a children's entertainer, but it does kind of work out that way for the most part. And so I usually do a very family friendly show. But even when I work a little blue, it's not very blue. At any rate, there are clips. My website, by the way, is snakeshow.com. To tell you that, the name of the show is actually Snake Encounters, and snakeencounters.com. So I get the same website. The other thing though is an energy thing that I do, and that same venue that was taking most of those YouTube clips, it's a very interesting sort of eclectic, I don't know, improv type troupe, and they did kind of a variety show thing, and pretty much if you brought something interesting to the stage, they'd give it to you, and they pretty much gave me free reign. This one clip, if you see on YouTube of a slanted table, that was my attempt to explain that whole thing in an 8-minute variety act. It was interesting, and I found an audience member that I'd never met before. It was a very interesting experiment. So that's part of the reason I want to go back on Steemit and start another account that's in my actual name, because it's also part of the reason I went ahead and got the name Daryl Sprout Productions, just because I realized that everything I was doing professionally had the word snake in it, and there were people that were passing me over that. It's part of the reason this is my off season big time. Nobody wants a snake show for their Christmas party.
No,
Right.
No,
I would love that.
I think it would be awesome too. I have done some. It's rare. They mostly for it, and I've always been told by the guy who booked me that, since he said go ahead and let it be a surprise, and they didn't know what I was talking about until I introduced myself. And it's funny because some of the front row moves back and some of the back row moves front and that sort of thing. But the fact is, all of my scary turns out to be funny. Everybody's happy at the end of it, and that guy who hired me is the biggest hero in the office the next day. So it's a funny topic, the whole phobia thing, and the more about it, the more fascinated I get. I was telling Snecky about my own phobia. I had a very, very serious case of phobia. Do you know what that one is?
Say it again. You cut out for a quick second.
Oh, did I? You ever heard of sphexophobia?
Nope. What is that?
Are you afraid of wasps?
That is one I'm not a fan of. It's not necessarily that I'm afraid of them. I just don't want to get stung, And
Well, I'm
yeah.
with you.
Hurts.
I'm with you. But and nobody wants to get bit by the snake either. But it's a very, very, very similar phenomenon. And I was very sphexophobic all of my life. Well, most of my life, because when I was 8, I walked under a canopy on top of a set thing. The top of it was a really cool swing set, and underneath it was a wasp nest that I knocked down with my back as I went under it. And as I went down that ladder very fast, I got nailed 9 times down my back. And I was absolutely, legitimately phobic about wasps my whole life thereafter. But it was 5 years ago, I believe, I met a man named Howard Garrett. He does a nationally syndicated AM radio show about organic gardening and organic tree care. He's a really cool guy. He's become a good friend. And he was the one who told me that wasps are beneficial. They do like snakes. They eat things you don't want more of. And like snakes, if you don't mess with them, they don't want to mess with you. And once that set in, I thought, okay, now what kind of hypocrite am I if I tell everybody to get over a learned and unnecessary fear of snakes, which is always, you have to be taught to be afraid of snakes. Nobody's born, okay, we don't need it. But I've always told people, this immersion therapy thing that I do by masking it with humor and comedy, that the whole idea is face it, right? I'm like, okay, so what kind of hypocrite am I if I can't do that with wasps? And so it was. 5 years ago, or a little less, I think, at any rate, I made peace with the wasp. And it was funny, too, because it was like nature said, and that year there were 3 paper wasp nests on my front porch, one on either side above the door and one where you enter the porch. And I did not knock them down. I did not spray them. I did not plot them. I said good night to them at night. I said good morning to them in the morning. And it took me all summer. But by the end of the summer, they could land on my shoulder. And I did not do the ninja dance. And it was absolutely transformative. I also had a bit of a heebie-jeebies thing about the bees and spiders. Those both went away with this. It's empowering as all get out to conquer a phobia.
Yeah, I could certainly see that for sure. So it'll be interesting. I think you should, in my opinion, I think you should bring some of this stuff to your Steemit blog, whether it be podcasts or videos, because I mean, you got a great sound and voice too. So I mean, I think if you brought some of this content to Steemit, I think people would really enjoy it.
Oh yes, I think so as well.
So if I did a fairly elaborate post back when about this topic, is it bad form to repost it?
I wouldn't do it word for word, but I mean, the beauty of Steemit, I mean, people look at it as different things. They look at it as, I'm going to post like my content and it's a one-time post and that's it. Then some people look at it as a blog, like a continuous blog. So you could be talking about the same topic, sometimes even on a daily basis, and giving updates and talking about different things about that subject. So, I mean, you really have the flexibility of doing whatever you want with your blog on Steemit, and that's one of the beauties of the platform. So, I mean, just because you've laid it all out there in this one post, you could certainly link to that post in a new one and then kind of expand on it and talk about what you're doing now with it, that type of thing. There's always probably going to be a new story that you could share from an experience that you had, that type of thing. There's always more that you could share on Steemit, and that's one of the beauties of the platform, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, I mean, that's just my thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, take that how you want. But, I mean, each person is going to do things differently. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to your Steemit blog. You know, the same thing isn't going to work for person A and person B as far as strategy or time of day you post or any of that kind of stuff. It's going to be different for everybody.
Uh-oh, now you just cut out for me.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, you're back. That's good.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that, you know, it's going to be different for everybody. Each person is going to have a different experience with, you know, Steemit. So if you have posted things about it in the past, yeah, you could certainly reference it again. You know, you can link to it, you can quote it, that type of thing. But yeah, I would not just completely repost it, that type of thing, because bots will catch it and things like that.
Well, Facebook will remind you of stuff that happened on this day 5 years ago.
Right.
And you can click share a memory, and you say, and you can make a little what was going on back then. And everybody knows it's something you posted before because you're sharing a memory. And I find that a really useful tool. I also find that it reminds me of when things happened that my mind doesn't quite have accurately as a sense of time. So it's interesting stuff to be reminded of stuff that used to happen. But of course, Steemit's not doing that to you. Steemit isn't talking to you at all. It's everybody. The trick is finding out what content you want to try to catch as it happens. And I'm still a total newbie about that.
Yeah, I think the system could do better, in my opinion, as far as, like you were saying, doing something to feature older content. I always said it would be kind of cool if somehow, if you got your 7-day payout window, if after that is done, if somebody goes back in and votes it that's never voted it before, I think it would be awesome if it would almost reopen a new voting window for that post.
That is a cool idea.
And I don't know whether that's even possible, but something like that would be pretty neat because, like you said, if you post something that's really good, you spend a lot of time on it, you post it, and maybe you were, it just didn't get as many views as you had hoped. Well, 6 months from now, that information may still be relevant and you want to share that with the community again. There's no real way to do that outside of someone re-steaming it, of course, if somebody re-steams it, that type of thing. But yeah, maybe in the future some things will get changed with the way content is just viewed and shared on the platform, and maybe some changes will happen. We'll have to see.
Well, I learned from Nicky, you don't want to do is ask people to upvote, which I like that because I've seen other platforms where that's all people are doing. You know what I mean? If you want to keep listening to me while I talk, you need to be giving me votes and stuff. There's what is the name of that platform? Never mind, I didn't like it enough to remember it. But at any rate, for that matter, the whole click like if you agree thing on Facebook means I won't.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, that's true, because I do see that as well. Yeah. It's weird. It's like as long as your content is good, you shouldn't have to even do that. And it is kind of bad form, in my opinion, to just beg for upvotes and things like that, and to people that will DM people and say, please vote my post and things. Like, that's taking it a bit too far. Like, just focus on creating good content, and if anything, go out and comment on people's posts about their content, and then they may actually want to go read your blog because of that. Don't just say, hey, I have a post here, go look at it, that type of thing. That doesn't work very well, in my opinion.
I have been doing that. I've been commenting, not just this is cool, but why, with my comments, but finding in that really, really long stream content what content I want to look for and comment on. If I search by topic to where it's salient to what I'm interested in, I get a bunch of older stuff. I noticed. And whether or not they even know that comment happens is not a very obvious thing. It's not like you get a notification that somebody commented on your comment or liked your comment or any of that sort of thing like you'd get on Facebook. So I find it more difficult on this platform to know what effect I'm having, but I'm learning.
Yeah, and the notifications have come and gone on Steemit. I don't know what the story is with that. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that department. So, but at some time there was some notifications, and then I think there are outside apps and other gateways you can use to access the blockchain that give you different notifications too. So
yes,
there are
I
things.
use one. Yeah.
Yeah, there are outside apps, and aren't there? They're like Chrome extensions and things and stuff.
Well, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we'll have to try to hook you up with some of that type of information after the show.
Excellent.
but I personally haven't used them, but I know they are out there. So, and maybe Sneck can show you some of those.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I can absolutely. I use a Chrome extension as well, and it shows me the mentions, the votes, the power of people, the vote word of people. I just open up my Steam and then it adds to it, so I see everything in one go. It's amazing, and yeah, I can tell you all about it.
Excellent. By the way, if anybody lives in Dallas, I show free on St. Patrick's Day at North Park Mall. Anybody who lives in Dallas knows what that is. Northwest Highway and Central. It's a big old shopping mall. They have an annex of the Dallas Public Library called Arcs, which is a cool little place, and they do mostly children's programs. And so I get invited back like 4 times a year. But while it's a whole bunch of kids down front, once I get going, the mall sort of stops and listens. At least the people walking by, which is funny because some of them are on the second floor above me because it's a big open courtyard thing where they set me up. So I can't really entirely tell how much people upstairs are hearing. But it's a fun venue.
And what was the date again you were going to do that? I think you cut out for a second, but
St. Patrick's Day, which is, or is it the 16th? I think it's the 17th.
Let me see here. I think it is the 17th, I believe.
Yeah,
it's a Saturday, I think, this year.
Yeah, Saturday, 2 p.m., Center Courtyard.
And you said
Dallas,
that was in
Texas.
Dallas. Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So, yeah, if anybody's in Texas and you want to check out and then you're doing the snake show, right?
Yeah, catch the show, meet some animals. Yeah. I have some of the very best in the I specialize in the truly petrified, cheaper than a shrink.
Well, that's really interesting, and I certainly will look forward to seeing if you start to put some of that content on Steemit, because I think it would be really neat if you can somehow, like I was saying, maybe make some videos or something like that. I think people would really enjoy seeing what you do. I mean, reading about it is always cool, but actually seeing it would be pretty interesting.
People like to meet George.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, George would be a good subject. He's just snarky enough. Let me think a little bit about what would be the perfect way to do that. I can post that. Sounds like a fun idea. I could do that. Everybody needs to meet George. I mean, in fact, depending on where you are in the country, as long as you're in the eastern 2/3 of it, well, at least the eastern half of it, there's pretty much rat snakes everywhere. It's a different kind for different places. You get Everglades rat snakes in Florida, and yellow rat snakes up the East Coast and some of Florida, and mostly black rat snakes up the East Coast. And it's funny because everybody calls them black snakes, which is a complete misnomer. There are 6 different snakes in this country that are black, and none of them are called a black snake. In the Northeast, when somebody says black snake, they usually don't know whether they're looking at a black racer or a black rat snake. Very, very different species. The black racer is slender and sleek and fast moving and pours over the ground like water, whereas the black rat snake is a heavy bodied constrictor that can climb a tree like you wouldn't believe. I've seen them go up a brick wall holding onto the edges of the bricks. Amazing climbers. The racer is overpowering anything small enough to overpower, which means, yes, he's eating mice, but only little ones, and he can't constrict them. Whereas a black rat snake can take out a very large rat out of your attic, given the chance. And so he's your friend. I mean, so is the racer, really, but the misnomer of calling them black snakes is really common all the way through. Gosh, the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, all of that. So I deal with that particular one all the time. In fact, when somebody tried to become a new field herpetologist for snake removal, it'd be one of the first questions we'd ask. Well, how much experience do you have with black snakes? If they don't correct you, they don't know what they're talking.
Good to know. Good to know. See, Sneck, you
So-
can learn something on this. That sounds like a good job for you, Snecky.
I think I have a good job for him. He should be the snake charmer and try to teach me to be a good snack.
Try to what?
To be a good snacky.
Yes.
I mean, I keep
am.
stealing apples, and people keep slamming me on the head for it.
I was going to call your hotline and say we had a Sneck problem here on the
The
show.
snack problem is.
Oh, don't kill me! Don't kill me, please. I'm a cute snack. I don't bite much, just a little bit.
No, I will gently collect you and relocate you.
Can you please locate me in near to Maine so I can bite him?
Right? Oh, that's funny.
Said I was eek. I'm not eek. Snakes are not eek.
You know, there's some pretty interesting snakes in Panama.
Yeah, I can
Panama,
imagine.
yes. Panama, yes.
Yeah. Be extra careful when you sidestep the strike range of a snake in Panama. There are some pretty doggone hot animals in Panama. The thing about getting bit in a third world country is A, you're more likely to get by something that's really venomous, and B, you're less likely to find. I don't know if you're less likely anymore. Maybe I shouldn't even say that because frankly,
You never know, yeah, but
yeah, it depends on where you are, what hospital you end up dealing with.
right.
I remember there was a big story that happened in Dallas. Gosh, this was maybe 7 years ago, 6. Yeah, probably 7. There was a cobra loose under a building near downtown Dallas. And there was an idiot, an expert that they sent out of the building to go after it. And yes, that was yours truly. And for a while, it was kind of the biggest news story here. And I had to crawl under, gosh, and about a 20, in some cases, as low as 16-inch high crawl space that was 5,000 square feet for a cobra that there was no antivenom in Dallas, Texas for.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those types of situations aren't good for sure. But, I think it's going to be cool to see you continue to, share your story on Steemit. We are running out of time here, so I'm going to wind things
We're
down.
at the top of the hour, aren't we? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No worries. I'm so glad we got to have you on the show tonight. So, of course, everybody can find him on Steemit right now. You're under the username Snake73. So we'll keep an eye on that blog for now. And, of course, if you do end up making a new Steemit profile, certainly let us know.
Yeah, that'll be under my name, which is Daryl Sprout. So, which is the other way to find me on Google. I've been around a while.
Cool. Well, we'll certainly check you out. And, Sneck, if you don't mind sharing his blog link one last time.
I already did. I'm super
Yes.
fast. I'm slittering around. Happy,
All right.
happy, happy.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight, Daryl. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll certainly chat with you again. We'll bring you on the show another time, and you can kind of give us an update.
Thank you, and thank you again, Snecky.
You're welcome. It was a blast having you here on the show, and I'm sure we will talk again soon.
Okay, take care.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
All right, everybody. So we hope you have been enjoying the show tonight. This is Main Event here. And, of course, I'm here with Poetic Snake, my co-host. We do this show every Wednesday night. It is from 5 to 7 Eastern Time or 10 to midnight UTC. So if you missed any of the show tonight, I will be posting the recording on my Steemit blog in about an hour's time here. So if you missed any of the show tonight or you want to hear previous episodes, you can find my Steemit blog. And, Sneck, if you don't mind sharing that as well. And you can share yours in there. You can find us right on Steemit as well. Of course, you've been listening to the Main Event interview show on MSP Waves Radio. You can find out all about the radio station on mspwaves.com. And you can also check out the Minnow Support Project on Steemit at Minnow Support. And that will link you to the community. Of course, everything you heard on this show tonight is strictly our opinions. We are not experts of anything. This is not advice. Always do your own research. and MSP Waves Radio and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by myself or my guests. Statements and show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the radio station, and the material you hear on this show is provided for educational and informational purposes only. This is strictly for entertainment purposes only, but we hope you have enjoyed the show. Up next,
research.
Yes. Up next is Saipan Damashi's show, I believe, if he's doing his show this week, so stick around for that. Snek, do you want to say your goodbyes?
Goodbye, people. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for the most amazing guest ever, having them on the show tonight. Thank you, what's up? Thank you, everybody. And it was amazing. Hope to see you next week.
Yes, absolutely. So again, everybody, you can listen to this show live 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 to midnight UTC every Wednesday on mspwaves.com. Again, my name is Main Event. She's Poetic Snake. We appreciate you joining us tonight. And, of course, shout out to everybody in the audience chat who listened tonight and everybody involved at MSP Waves. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you next time. Have a great night.